Continue to go ahead and eat and finish up your lunch as we prepare for the next part of the award ceremony. There are really good cookies over there on the side. I'm just saying, if anybody wants any cookies, eat them before I get back there because there won't be any left if I go back there again. So enjoy that as we move on forward. This next part of the program is for us to be able to present 3 different awards from Reaching Out From Within. And so I am going to call on Danny Elias, our incoming board president, to present the first award. Before I do that, a couple of you were asking about the Blue Book. I couldn't find one earlier, but we've located the box where they were in. And so this is a copy of the Blue Book. It's a 400-plus page curriculum with 9 different units. We'll have a few of these out at the front table for your perusal, to be able to look through and be able to see what's in there and see the information, especially for Nebraska, who's going to start these programs this year, right? And Missouri, who's going to be starting these programs in some of their other prisons this year, and for anybody else that wants to see the curriculum. Part of this is also online on our website. We've got a chapter, I believe, or part of a section on the website at www.rofw.org. So you can find it there also. So without further ado, we would like to start presenting these awards. And Danny, I will call you up to present the Gregory Musselman Alumni Award.
Hi, everyone. So as Greg said, this is our awards and recognition section. So I do want to take a moment. Earlier, Greg introduced me, Danny, to you all as the incoming president, but I'd like to take a moment to once again recognize Greg for everything that he did for this organization. He brought this symposium to life. I think a lot of you are in this room because of Greg. And he also, kind of a thing that I don't have to over-explain to you guys, but during the pandemic, during COVID, it took a major toll on all of our programs, all of our resources. Our very first symposium was the year before COVID hit, and we managed to push through and continue to have these amazing events because of Greg's work and because of his passion to continue to drive through that. So he didn't let it stop us. We're here because of that. So thank you, Greg. But as he said, I am here today to present the Gregory Musselman Alumni and Volunteer Award. This award is presented to the alumnus or volunteer that goes above and beyond the norm to live by the Reaching Out From Within beliefs, goals, and values. The recipient of this award has positively impacted and influenced other ROFW alumni, members, volunteers, and others associated within the organization, and has exhibited years of dedicated service to furthering the mission, vision, and values of our organization. I am honored to present the 2025 Gregory Musselman Alumni and Volunteer Award to Doug Morris. One second. I met Doug. Yeah, you can sit up. I met. Yeah. I know. Here, I'm going to speak a little bit about you. I met Doug in 2019 through Reaching Out From Within. I was a volunteer and can attest that Doug was a consistent leader in our group. He was a steady, reliant voice for every member. His down-to-earth sense of humor was always appreciated, too. In those few years since, Doug has continued tremendous things. Doug describes himself as a professional volunteer. He is the vice president of the Alliance for Returned Citizens, a reentry house in Casey, Kansas. He is the primary facilitator for ROFW at the Transition Center for Kansas City, and he volunteers at Journey to New Life with Emergency Aid. He has also recently started working with the Reentry Subcommittee of KC 360. He has been involved with the criminal justice system in some capacity for nearly 40 years, and he has no plans to stop anytime soon. Just last night, I heard the story of a friend who called Doug one evening explaining that his friend who had recently been released was having car trouble. They were stranded on the side of the road about 150 miles outside of town with no one to be able to come and help them. His friend was concerned that that person was not going to be able to get to their job the next morning and that they might lose this job that was newly acquired. You can probably guess what happened next. Doug drove the 150 miles to help a man he didn't really know to ensure that he made it to work the next day and stayed on the right path. I can think of no better recipient of this year's reward, honoring those who go above and beyond. So please join me again in congratulating Doug. Come on back up, Doug. This is the award itself, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right, and now Jason for the Courage to Impact Award.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Miles. I am here to present the Courage to Change Impact Award. Oh, thank you. Yeah. This award is presented to the person who creates a significant, positive, pro-social impact upon the organization and or in the lives of the members, alumni, volunteers, board members, and the extended reaching out from within community. This person will have favorably impacted others in learning about, experiencing, and or participating in reaching out from within Blue Book groups, alumni meetings, speaking engagements, fundraising events, the Courage to Change Symposium, Alliance for Returning Citizens, ARC House, or any of the other events, groups, and activities that continue to elevate and further the cause of reaching out from within. So it should come to no surprise to you that this year we're giving this award to Sue Ellen Freed, and we'd like her family to come up and accept this award. I want to say a little something about your mom real quick. So I want to say a little something about Sue Ellen, and as I'm saying this isn't just coming from me, this is coming, I think, from all of us here that knew her, and we miss her very much. And I think about the times that I would spend with her in the car and the things we would talk about, and I think about the times we would go into the prison, and as soon as the guys or the gals, we would come into contact with them, how she would say hello. She would like kind of drag it out a little bit. I won't attempt to do it here, but I have that in my head that I hear that. And I think about, as I was coming to this event today, I was thinking about her, and I was thinking about the things that I've learned from her in my life, and how could I apply that to the times I find myself in spaces like these. And the first thing I thought about is Sue Ellen would have fun. And I'm sitting there at my table, and with the other people on my table, we're cracking jokes, and we're just having a good time. So I think about Sue Ellen, she would do that, she would have fun. And another thing with Sue Ellen was the connections. And so I challenge you to reach out to maybe somebody here that you don't know, meet new people, because that's what Sue Ellen was really all about. She was really all about connections. And I'm so honored to be able to present this award. And Mark, who lives in Topeka, has actually been joining me and volunteering at the women's prison in Topeka. So it's really been an honor to get to know Mark as he interacts with our group members there in Topeka. But I want to present this award to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sure. Just briefly, you all won't be surprised to know that Mom loved to talk about reaching out from within to anyone that she could. And I know what she would want me to say today is what she said to anyone that would listen. She was profoundly affected by her participation, felt like she got more out of it than any resident could, and that she left every meeting inspired and transformed. So thank you all for being such a rich, rich, rich part of her life.
First off, I want to warn you, I am also an attorney. I get paid by the word spoken, but I'm not as successful as John was, so I didn't make as much money. Mom was a visiting professor at Washburn University, where I worked several years back, and she spent one day with students in the education department on her anti-bullying, and then another day she spent with social work and criminal justice students, and she took them to the Topeka Correctional Facility and introduced them to the Reaching Out from Within program. And on the third day, there was a gathering, and they selected a couple of students to talk about their experiences. And the student who spoke from the criminal justice department gets up and starts to talk about how it impacted her, and she talks about how she had a brother who was incarcerated in the Kansas system, and her brother was going through the Reaching Out from Within program, and how much she had seen the change in him. So again, Jason talked about mom networking and connecting. Here's another way where, unintended, there was this connection between my mother reaching out from within and a connection to someone on the outside who was seeing the great work that it was doing and the great impact it was having on their family. So to all of you who keep this going, that means so much to my mom, and thank you.
And finally, it is my honor to present the next award, which is the Sue Ellen Freed Humanitarian Award. This award goes to an organization, group, or individual who gives a substantial gift of their time, their talent, their treasure to further the mission, vision, and values of Reaching Out from Within. This year's honoree has substantially contributed to the legacy of Reaching Out from Within by reshaping the scope of our mission and by impacting the future of our organization. We are privileged to present the 2025 Sue Ellen Freed Humanitarian Award to the Bob Barker Foundation. I want to tell you a little bit about the Bob Barker Foundation. It was established in North Carolina in 2009 with a singular, powerful mission to reduce recidivism by supporting and developing programs that help incarcerated individuals successfully reenter society and stay out for life. Since its inception, the foundation has awarded over $9.8 million in grants to more than 540 nonprofit organizations working to break the cycle of incarceration. Through these efforts, the foundation has impacted over 5.7 million lives, offering hope, opportunity, and a path forward for countless individuals in seeking a fresh start. Reaching Out from Within is proud to be one of those organizations. In 2012, Sue Ellen Freed gave a presentation about Reaching Out from Within at a correctional conference in Florida, which just happened to be attended by Pat Barker, Nancy's mom. And as a member of the audience, she was convinced that North Carolina needed Reaching Out from Within. That's how Reaching Out from Within got to North Carolina. The Bob Barker Company and Reaching Out from Within shared so many common values. Values rooted in redemption, in caring for humanity, and in second chances. Sue Ellen said that she was addicted to personal transformations. Likewise, the foundation's vision is deeply rooted in the belief that incarcerated individuals have an inherent value and that their lives can be transformed through physical, spiritual, and emotional preparation for reentry. The numbers of Bob Barker Foundation speak for themselves. While national recidivism rates remain high as 68% for those rearrested within 3 years, the average recidivism rate for the foundation's grantees is just at 11%, and that's an average. We recognize not only the foundation as a whole, but also the individuals who are instrumental in driving its mission forward. Bob Barker, the company founder, Pat Barker, his wife and co-founder, Robert Barker, Nancy's brother, who is the CEO, Nancy Barker-Johns, who is the COO, and Curtis Taylor, who is the executive director of the foundation. By supporting programs like Reaching Out from Within, it's not just helping individuals reintegrate into society, it's reshaping conversations around criminal justice reform and demonstrating what is possible when we invest in rehabilitative programs rather than punishment alone. We are pleased to honor the Bob Barker Foundation. Only Mary. Thank you. Please. I passed it. Give me one. Sorry.
So thank you. I just wanted to add a little bit to the story that Greg shared. So it was placed on my brother's heart prior to when we started the foundation that we needed to be a part of reducing recidivism. And at that time, right, I don't know if y'all know what our company is, Bob Barker Company. We provide soap and uniforms and footwear and things like that that are used in correctional facilities. So we're business people. We don't know anything about social work. We don't know anything about reducing recidivism. But it was really a call that was put on my brother's life and on the business as well. So we went about forming this foundation, and one of the first things that we did is we hired an academic to tell us what we should do, right? And it was really disappointing. They came back and they said, well, we've done a meta-analysis, and the bad news is there is nothing that works, right? That was a very low moment for us. So nonetheless, we continued to try and figure out what it is we wanted to do. And as Greg mentioned, my mom went to this ACA conference and she heard Sue Ellen Freed speak. And Mom came back on fire, right? And the more that Robert and I would talk about what we want the foundation to do, every answer was the same from my mom. Reaching out from within does this. You know, we said, well, we want it to be effective. We want it to reduce recidivism. Reaching out from within does it. We want it to be cost effective. Reaching out from within does it. On and on, everything that we wanted. So finally, we were convinced and we learned more about it, and we were blessed with the opportunity to connect North Carolina with this incredible program. And you know, I'm so grateful that we got to play a role in it coming to North Carolina. But more than that, right? Sue Ellen Freed was a part of showing us that our idea, this call on Robert's life and on the business, it was possible, right? It was not, as the meta-analysis was showing, an impossible feat. And since that day, it's been so rewarding to learn about all kinds of programs across the country that are making a difference. And just so grateful to get to work with Curtis and keep learning about these wonderful programs that are making a difference. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It is now time for us to invite our speaker of the hour to the podium. He is well known in the Kansas City area and even Western Kansas, and becoming known across the United States. Jermaine Wilson is currently Prison Fellowship's mission ambassador, and he travels across the country sharing his story, telling his inspiring words about hope and healing. I know you will find his words truly encouraging. I've heard him speak on numerous occasions. It's my honor to welcome to the stage Jermaine Wilson.
Can you all see me? First, giving honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I hope that my message will encourage you, inspire you to see the power and importance of second chances. Through my experience, I know second chances firsthand create successors, not statistics. It is proven that redemption and not rejection restores human dignity, hope, and transformed lives for the better. Everybody that is here today wants to be better, wants to do better. It could be in your professional careers or personal careers. How many of y'all want to be better? Well, of course, I hope that you want to do better. You're all here. But in order to do better and become better, we have to go through the process of change. Change is difficult. Change is challenging. Change can be a struggle. But without struggle, there is no progress. And for individuals who experience change, they realize change doesn't happen from the outside in. It happens from the inside out. And if we don't come from within, we'll go without. Greatness is inside of each and every last one of us. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter what you are going through. You can become better. But you have to see yourself not as a failure, not as a mistake, but as a person with a purpose. God doesn't make mistakes. We are all made in his image, which means he was intentional when he created us. He was intentional when he made me 5'2", a tall giant. But we all have a purpose. Nobody is here as a mistake. And as we're going through the process of change, we realize change happens from the inside and out. And when you experience the change, you have to realize you have to change the way you see yourself, and you have to change the way you see people outside of you. Big shout out to KDOC for changing up their language, because we can no longer see people as prisoners, projects, problems, X kinds of felons. We have to see people as people. People shouldn't be judged based upon their circumstances or the mistakes that we have made. By a show of hands, how many of us have made mistakes? We all have made mistakes. And one of the comments that I hear all the time, especially from volunteers that go inside the prisons, they'll tell the guys or they'll tell me, I don't know if they're saying this just to be cool, but they said the difference between you and I, you got caught and I didn't. Have y'all ever heard that statement? Now, by a show of hands, how many of you all have made a mistake and you could have got locked up? You don't have to be scared. I know we got some prosecutors in the house. Nobody want to get charged by old crimes. But change is important. And once we change the way that we see people, we have to understand the moment we judge people by their circumstances, we disqualify their potential, seeing where they are, only where they are, and not where they could be. Because we all have made mistakes. Our past mistakes doesn't shape our identity, and our past mistakes does not define who we are. We are greater. We are greater than what we have done. We all are greater than what we have done. Men who have been incarcerated, we are not bound by our mistakes, not our pain, not our hurt. We are greater than what we have done. You never know who you are until you've encountered who you are not. I experienced being someone that I was never created to be. I was exposed to drug crimes and violence at a very early age. I come from a beautiful mother, Savannah Wilson. She was 15 years old when she had her first child. Dropped out of school so she could take care of my sister, started working a job, struggling to make ends meet, never knew who her father was, but she was in survival mode, did everything that she could to provide. By the age of 21, my mother had 4 children and no education. This 4th child that she had was the most beautiful child in the world. My mother told me out of all of her pregnancies, she said she struggled with me the most She didn't think I was going to make it because I hung real low in her belly. She was always in and out of the hospital having complications. But when I was born, she told me, I knew you were going to struggle in life, but I knew you was going to make it. My mother wanted something different for her children. My father struggled with drug addiction. He was in and out of incarceration. And so my mother moved us from a small town in Missouri, Kennett, Missouri. Anybody familiar with Boot Hill? Hometown of Sheryl Crow, shout out, Missouri, Boot Hill. Moved us to Leavenworth, Kansas, 8 hours away. We didn't know where we was going, but my mother had to settle for what she could afford, which was low-income housing, AKA the ghetto. I grew up in this neighborhood. This neighborhood that I grew up in exposed me to drug crimes and violence and said it was okay to break the law. Professionals that came inside of our community, they were criticized, but the gangsters and hustlers and drug dealers were the ones that were glorified. I grew up thinking the criminal lifestyle was okay because I'm surrounded by negativity. I'm being exposed by negativity, and this seems like a normal life to me. The community had limited resources, so I settled for the things that I saw. And I struggled with insecurity growing up. Due to my height, I was the last one to get picked on the basketball team, football team. It was so bad, I was the last one to get picked on Foursquare. But I wanted acceptance. I just wanted to be seen, loved, and valued. And so I started doing what everybody else was doing. Committing crimes. At the age of 11 was the first time I started using drugs. By the age of 12, I had committed my first crime. Broke inside of a house, went in the refrigerator, and made a bologna sandwich, y'all. That's why I don't eat bologna sandwiches now to this day. Because the consequences that I received from that was my mother. My mother, she loved her children. But one thing she believed in beating her children. When my mama got a hold of me, y'all, she beat me so bad, y'all, she stunted my growth. That's why I got this height deficiency now. But I didn't listen. I didn't take heed. I continued that criminal lifestyle. Why? Because of the love I was searching and yearning for all of my life. I'm getting it now from my peers. And so I'm surrounding myself around these people who are breaking the law. At the age of 15, I committed a robbery charge and was sentenced to 2 years in juvenile corrections. Tried to run from my problems, tried to escape, failed in the attempt, and was sentenced to an additional 2 more years. That lesson taught me that you can never run away from your problems. When you try to run away from your problems, you create more problems. So now I'm in the juvenile system, trying to survive, trying to figure it out. And now I attach myself to the gang lifestyle because I'm afraid, I'm worried, I'm concerned, not knowing what to expect when I'm going through this system. And once again, I'm still searching for acceptance, searching to be loved, searching for opportunities. But it didn't happen. So after I maxed out my 4 years, I returned to the same community, surrounded myself around the same people, and settled for everything that I had saw. In the Reaching from Within Blue Book, there's this particular chapter called Distorted Thinking. Reaching out from within, men. Can I hear y'all give a shout out? Oh, dog, boy. Hey, man, can y'all get a shout? Can I get a whoop, whoop? Hey, that's what I'm talking about. There's this particular chapter called Distorted Thinking. When I was released, I had this distorted thinking mentality. I started blaming others for my mistakes. I was so mad at Leavenworth County. Our prosecutor's here right now, too, y'all. Give him away, give him away. I was so mad at the system, and I blamed them for the mistakes that I have made because I said they took this time out of my life. They sentenced me to 4 years. They didn't give me a second chance. They didn't give me this opportunity. Because of my family had a criminal record, that's why I was being punished. That was the distorted thinking that I had. I blamed others, and I had that I can't mentality. I can't succeed because I have a criminal record. I'm not going to prosper because I have a criminal record. Why even try? Because I have a criminal record. And as I'm telling these lies to myself, I'm settling for these lies. And so I quit even trying to pursue applications. And because I said I'm a felon, once a felon, always a felon, nobody's going to give me another chance at life. That's when I started selling drugs, started making money, became addicted to the drugs that I was selling, got caught up in the lifestyle, became addicted, was in and out of the hospital, caught myself trapped in the cycle that I couldn't get myself out of. It wasn't a matter of if I was going to prison. It was a matter of when I was going to prison. God tried to get my attention and slow me down by blessing me with a son. I wasn't ready to be a father, didn't know how to be a father. My father never knew who his father was. My mother never knew who her father was. And so instead of me taking care of my responsibility, I neglected my responsibility and chose the streets, which landed me in prison for 3 years. Now I'm sitting in prison, nowhere to go, no one to turn to. I'm at the lowest point of my life, ready to give up, ready to throw in the towel. And as I'm locked down in this cell, 23 hours a day, reality sets in. I begin to think. I begin to talk to myself. Y'all looking at me like, how many of y'all talk to yourselves? It's okay to talk to yourselves, and it's okay to even answer yourself. Because sometimes we could talk ourselves out of a lot of situations. But reality sets in. My dad been to prison. My brother was in prison. I'm sitting in prison. If I don't change my life, I have a son who was 8 months old. He's going to end up coming to prison if I'm not there for him. That's when I made the decision. In my prison cell, I can't undo what's been done, but I have an opportunity to do something that's never been done, and that is to break the cycle of crime and incarceration in my family. That's when I said, I need help. I said the most powerful words in my life. I need help. Say it with me, y'all. I need help. One more time. I need help. None of us can do it by ourselves. We all need somebody. We need Kansas Department of Corrections. We need Missouri Department of Corrections. North Carolina, we need prosecutors. We need everybody. But we need everybody to work together. So when I cried out and said I needed help, God showed me this program that's inside of the prison system called Prison Fellowship. I signed up for the program. I got accepted into the program. There were many organizations inside the prisons that are doing great work. One thing that I learned about programs in the prisons, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Reaching Out from Within is an organization that has challenged many men from the inside and helped them to become the men that they are today. So let's give a round of applause for the men that have made it and that are still here. Reaching Out from Within focuses on personal transformation, healing, reducing the recidivism rate, confronting their past actions, and developing empathy and self-awareness. So now I'm in this program. I had to confront my past in order to be free in my present. You can only conquer those things that you are willing to confront. I had to change up my thinking. I no longer saw myself as the victim, a failure, or a mistake. While I'm in the program that's challenging me, that is stretching me, it helped me to see that I am a person with a God-given purpose. Now I'm experiencing transformation from the inside out. God is showing me that he has a plan and a purpose for my life, and no life is beyond his reach. Just because I have fallen does not give me permission to stay there. It's time for me to stand up. It's time for me to see myself as a success and not a statistic. While I'm in this program, I'm going through the process of change, learning how to communicate, dealing with conflict resolution, asking myself these questions: what got me here? Learning from my mistakes, taking ownership for my actions. And I started to write out my goals. When I get out of prison, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to be a father. And I'm going to come back inside of this prison and let people know, with God, all things are possible. And so I wrote those goals down. I prayed over those goals, and I gave it up to the Lord. I hit a hard time while I was in prison. My visit stopped. My phone call stopped being answered. And now I'm at the lowest point of my life. And I realized at that moment, sometimes it takes a person being broken down and stripped away from everything he has in order for God to get his attention. So I cried out to God. I said, God, I tried to do it my way. I have to lean on you. I'm trusting in you. Help me. Help me, because I'm tired of living this lifestyle and trying to do it by myself. And when I cried out to God for the first time in my life, man, I felt free. Man, I truly felt accepted. I felt love. And although I was spiritually and mentally free, I was physically still in prison. But God got a hold of me inside that prison cell. When I got up off that ground and I was crying, man, I felt like I was 7 feet tall, y'all. Because God had got a hold of me, and I knew at that moment, even if I had to do this time by myself, I'm going to make it. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to be there for my son. And I continue to go through the process of change. Reaching Out from Within is an organization that believes even though you are incarcerated, you can still help those in need. You can lock up a person, but you cannot lock up their purpose. And so when I realized, even though I still got this time to do, I'm going to invest my time. I'm going to use my time to serve others that are inside this prison with me. I'm going to help hold people accountable. I'm going to help people write resumes. So the change is happening on the inside, and then I'm reaching out to my community through phone calls, encouraging young brothers not to make the same mistakes that I made, telling them what it's really like inside of this prison system, letting them know, man, do what you need to do to provide for your family, because when you come inside of here, you're going to be limited to what you can do. I'm helping. I'm making a difference from the inside out. I was preparing myself for success. When those prison doors opened up, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't worried, because I had prepared to succeed. I was ready for society, but society wasn't ready for me. Now I have to go through this process of being on probation. I'm filling out applications. I'm going to job interviews. I'm interviewing. They said, oh, man, you can communicate great. We want to hire you. We think that you're going to be a great asset to our company. But then I get informed that we cannot hire you due to your criminal record. I tried for many weeks. Almost a month went by without me being able to find employment. Did I feel like giving up? Yes. But I knew if I would have gave up on me, I would have been giving up on my son. And I also would have been giving up on every man and woman that's coming out of prison behind me. And that's when God showed me. No doesn't mean that you are not qualified. N-O simply means next opportunity. Once I received that opportunity, I maximized that opportunity. I worked that job faithfully. I worked that job unto the Lord, and I was just thankful just to be happy. I'm wiping toilets, I'm vacuuming, I'm cleaning, I'm doing everything that I can to provide for my family. Then I get promoted. A daycare comes inside of my church. Now I'm working inside of this church because I love working with kids. And then one day I come into the office. The director is looking at me crying. And she said, Jermaine, I have some news. I said, what's going on? She said, I have to let you go. And I said, why? And she said, because you have a criminal record. It doesn't matter that you were locked up for possession of drugs. You have a criminal record, so we have to let you go. So I walked out of that office with my head held down. And then God just reminded me to keep your head up because this is not your ending. This is not your ending. So I looked back at that director and I said, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for seeing me as me and giving me another chance. So when one door closes, God always opened up a window. So when I climbed through that window, you know I'm short, so I tripped through that window. I landed in the right spot, was given that opportunity, maximized it. I'm working it faithfully. And then I get a phone call from my supervisor. And she tells me, she said, Jermaine, is there any way that you can get a government clearance? She said, because your job depends upon it. So automatically fear was running through my mind. I need to provide for my family. Like, God, please don't let this happen to me again. Show me what I need to do. And then I remember when volunteers came inside of the prisons and made a statement and said that, hey, you have opportunities to get your criminal record expunged in this amount of time. So I Googled, looked it up, thank God for Google, and I was eligible to get my criminal record expunged that year. Man, for the sake of time, I'm going to speed this process up real quick. Now I'm out in the community, I'm serving, I'm working. God said that he's going to use me to be able to impact the criminal justice system. I said one of my goals was to be able to go back inside of the prison, give hope to the men. KDOC table, can you please stand up? Marcy, Kylie, please stand up real quick. Give them a round of applause because they provided me an opportunity to go back inside of the prison and become a mentor. So I'm serving my community, help making a difference, giving back, and now I have this roadblock once again. What am I going to do? I seen that I was eligible to get my criminal record expunged that year, but I didn't have the money. Didn't have the money, and it cost $700. How many of you all get some tax refunds back? Y'all know what it's like when you get that refund? Hey, can y'all say it with me? On the count of three, say refund. 1, 2, 3, refund. Hey, when I got my tax refunds, I didn't invest in no Jordans, no clothes. I invested in my future. God allowed me to get my criminal record expunged. Mr. Todd Thompson, stand up, please. This man holds a special place in my heart. And the reason that I say that, this person locked me up.
Knew you were going to do that.
But also helped free me up. Because when my expungement paperwork came across his desk, he didn't judge me based upon the person that I was. He had seen me as the person that I had became, and he had heard about the works that I was doing inside of the community. And so, man, give him a round of applause. This is why we need each other. Each one of us holds the key to unlocking someone else's second chance. How much time I got, Greg? Oh, man, never mind. Like he gave me, look, 30 more minutes. No, I got you. I'm wrapping it up. So I was able to go through the expungement process, receive my expungement, and was able to maintain my employment. And so now, thank God for my expungement, because that opened up the doors for me to get better housing, better employment, and I was able to get my government clearance, which blessed me and my family tremendously. And so now I'm continuously serving in the community, helping record mentors, and just doing everything that I can to give back, but most of all, going back inside of the prison system, letting people know with God all things are possible. Second chances are possible. You just don't give up. And I'm going to continue to encourage you. I'm going to continue to be present so you can see what is possible. And so now, 2017 comes around. I get a call from the community, leaders in the community. By this time, I'm working with local law enforcement, establishing trust, helping individuals that are coming out of prison. And people ask me this question. Have you ever thought about getting involved in politics? I said, oh, no, that's the devil's playground. I don't do politics. But they said, you know how to serve people. You're making a difference. You're not ashamed nor afraid to talk about what you have experienced in your life. And we need people that are going to be truthful, because most politicians, they lie. You told on yourself, so can't nobody tell on you. And so I said, okay, I didn't have any political experience, no aspirations. I ended up connecting with the individual, good friend of mine who was running for state representative. But I realized quickly, his campaign, his process was different than mine. He was able to go knock on 300 to 500 doors. Not me. I only knocked on a total of 5 doors. 3 people weren't even home. The 4th person told me no. And when I got to the 5th door, man, I'm ready to go home. I'm pouring down, sweating. I just want to go home and just drink some Kool-Aid and just chill with my wife. But something inside of me wouldn't let me quit. Something inside of me wouldn't allow me just to throw in the towel. So I said, one more door. Say it with me. One more door. I get to this 5th door. I hear this little girl say, "Mommy, Mommy, there's a black guy at the door." My heart is racing at this moment. I'm scared. So when the mother opens up the door, Caucasian lady opens up the door, her eyes get this big. I get scared because she gets scared. I lose my word. I take my flyer and I throw it at her, and I took off running down the street. And I realized, I'm like, God, what is this? Is this really what you want me to do? And then he showed me, I never called you to be like everybody else. I called you to be you. Your path is different. And if you truly want to make a difference, you have to be different. You have to do something different. You have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone, not try to be like everybody else. Push the envelope. Strive for change. And so I realized at that moment, what worked for some people is not going to work for you. That's when I said, man, I'm going to be me. When I gained my confidence, man, I grabbed my barbecue grill and I went down to Family Dollar Store. Man, we in Kansas City. Y'all, we got some Gates barbecue lovers in here? Well, tell Gates he ain't got nothing on Jermaine Wilson. Man, as customers was walking in and out of the store, I'm handing them a plate of that barbecue chicken. They take that barbecue chicken and bite it. Oh my God, this is delicious. I said, vote for Jermaine. They laugh. And one thing that I learned about life, if you can get a person to laugh, you can get a person to listen. It took me losing my freedom to discover my purpose. But everything that I went through prepared me for that moment, because now I'm talking to constituents and they're asking me my why, and now I'm able to share with them my story on how God brought me from the prison system and put me in this position to be able to run for a city commission is a success within itself. And they will say, thank you, because you are giving me hope for my loved one that's incarcerated. I didn't think there was any hope for them, but seeing you where you are today gives me hope, letting me know change is truly possible. Change is truly possible. Say it with me. Change is truly possible. January the 8th, 2019, I had became the mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas, y'all. When you're serving to make a difference, God will put you in position. And when you're in that position, don't just let it be for personal gain. Allow that position to help you to be able to create change. Stand up, Todd. Come on, grab your mic. I wanted to change and provide second chances and opportunities to people that need it. God allowed me to be able to experience a second chance at life by helping me to get my criminal record expunged. But I couldn't do that by myself. I needed help. So on the second day when I was the mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas, my good friend who once locked me up and helped free me up, were able to work together to help free other individuals by providing second chances and free expungements to all those that was eligible in our community.
For the record, I didn't officially luck in. I am one of those elected officials, but I am not the way they get described. At least I hope I am an anomaly. I know that it is not the most popular thing for a prosecutor to always be said to try to let someone go. And I can't work like Jermaine does when he speaks. But what I could do and what I did see is that I could help make a difference. Jermaine was a bright star in our community, and in talking to a previous judge and seeing what one other community had done, I had saw a way that I could help out, whether selfishly or not, because I say selfishly, as a prosecutor, the biggest thing I would like to do is have less business. Less business means people not doing crime. And the way I know how to have less business and people not doing crime is have them successful. Jermaine has talked about the roadblocks that he faced just getting out and getting his feet started. Jermaine has barely touched on the roadblocks that he faced running and the roadblocks he still faces with people having judgment. But what you see in a man who has a nickname of Too Short is one that keeps his head high, because no matter the slings and arrows that get thrown from him, it does not stop him from continuing to move forward, progress, and help others. And to see that example, to see that an expungement can clear up someone and make them succeed even further and help our community, it's a no-brainer for me to help out. Whether what anybody else says about me being part of that program, I know that I'm helping people. And my biggest goal, any prosecutor, anyone in law enforcement's biggest goal, has to always be to help and not see people fall back down. And one of the things I see an example of Jermaine all the time is no matter how many times he's gotten knocked, he keeps moving forward. And I think that's something that anyone should look to and aspire to, and I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you, my friend. In closing, I would like to use my last words to honor Ms. Sue Ellen. Sue Ellen was mighty in action, not just in words. Her voice spoke volumes for those unheard. She saw the potential where others saw flaws, brought hope to people in prison, giving them freedom behind walls. Short in stature, yet tall in might, her spirit burned with unwavering light. Soft-spoken, yet full of love and grace, encouraging all despite their falls to find their place. Her life was dedicated to serving others. If you met Sue Ellen, you instantly became a friend, sister, or brother. She was a true servant in heart and in deed. Her legacy lives forever in the lives she freed. Without Sue Ellen, there is no Jermaine Wilson. She's up in heaven smiling because she completed her mission. She came from the outside, empowered from within. Thank you to Sue Ellen, and thank you to Reaching Out from Within. God bless.
I told you it would be powerful and uplifting and inspiring. I think we got our money's worth today, which was nothing, because we didn't pay him. But thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing that inspiring story and for all that you do to be an example. We too often hear about the failure that makes the 6 o'clock news, the person that doesn't succeed in this business, and we rarely get to see the successes. And so I thank you and all of the other alumni in this room, all of the others. They are sitting in your midst. People are sitting next to you that have felony convictions, that have done 20, 30, 40 years in prison, that you can't tell the difference of who your neighbor is and who they are. So thank you to the people who succeed that make it easier for everyone else. Thank you. We are way off base on time, so we are going to move right to our next section. If you need to take a break in between as we move, please do so. We are trying something new this year. Instead of moving right into our next panel, we have breakout sessions. We wanted to get more information out to people. We wanted to be able to have more sessions. We couldn't cram any more into the day's schedule, so we decided to break out. So you have 3 options during this next hour. Option number 1 is to stay in this room where all the virtual attendees will be, and Mary Ward, our volunteer coordinator in North Carolina, is going to be doing a panel discussion on successful reentry. So that will be right here in this room if you'd like to stay here. If you would like to talk about housing, there will be a discussion on housing in the Troost room, which is out the back door, and it's the closest room there. Doug Morris, the Greg Musselman Award alumni recipient, will be moderating that panel with some other Reaching Out From Within alumni and volunteers on housing in the Troost room. Out this door, I believe, right across the hall here in the, Brush Creek room. Eliza Barr, our executive director, will be leading a panel discussion on employment. So your 3 choices are housing, employment, or successful reentry. Feel free to pick any one of those. You have 5 minutes to get to your next destination, and those panels will run from 1:20 till 2:20, and then we'll have a 15-minute break, and we will all convene back in this room at 2:30 for the final alumni panel for Reaching Out From Within. Thank you.